Welcome back. All right, so my continuing look at teams in the offseason and what they've done so far. We've reached the Nashville Predators, and I'm going in sort of a random order, and these are not as in depth as season previews. Season previews will be starting the second week of August. So while I'm on vacation, those will post, which means I'm pre-recording them before I go on vacation. So I'd be really happy if teams didn't make moves that week. So now you know they will. But Nashville might be one of the first previews I do because I don't know that they're going to make moves. I don't know that they've got the cap space for one, and I don't know that they have any need to. Barry Trotz, since taking over, has really done a good job. Initially, he made it clear that, you know what, the team missed the playoffs, might be doing some sort of a retool, but he left himself cap space. He left himself cap space, and he left the team with the opportunity to prove him wrong and to go out there and make the playoffs, and they did. And he's rewarded them in the offseason with a couple of big additions. So looking at their likely top six players, their likely top four defensemen, so top six forwards, top four defensemen. Forsberg, 29 years of age, 82 games, 48 goals, 46 assists, 94 points. He absolutely can reach 50 goals. He can reach 100 points. Forsberg, an excellent player. Ryan O'Reilly, 33 years of age, 82 games, 26 goals, 43 assists, 69 points. I thought O'Reilly had an excellent bounce back season this past year. Not that he necessarily needed a big bounce back or anything, but he showed he could still play. Players in their early 30s will tend to drop off usually when it comes to production. He did pretty well. Nyquist at 34 years of age right now, and he's coming off of his best year I think he's ever played. 81 games, 23 goals, 52 assists, 75 points. I don't know if it stays that way. So I do wonder with the additions they've made, maybe Nyquist doesn't play in all those situations. Maybe that drops his points down, but we'll see. Stamkos, 34 years of age, of course, added from Tampa. 79 games, 40 goals, 41 assists, 81 points. The expectation's going to be he'll stay around a point per game, and that $8 million a year that they're paying him is also for that leadership, for that experience, for the cup rings that he has. And, I mean, honestly, adding a 40-goal scorer as a free agent, it's going to do a lot to bolster your attack. Novak's likely to be in that top six as well. Playing down the middle, 71 games, 18 goals, 27 assists, 45 points. Marchessault, 33 years of age. So Novak at 27 is the youngest of the forwards we've got on the board. Marchessault's 33, and of course he was added from Vegas. And it's another 40-goal scorer. So 82 games, 42 goals, 27 assists, 69 points. I don't expect Marchessault to score 40 again, but I didn't expect Marchessault to score 40 this past season either. Maybe he proves everybody wrong. And it means they've got three players in this top six who had a minimum of 40 goals this past season. So that's a pretty strong attack. This is a team that was good offensively, not fantastic, and I think that showed in their series against the Vancouver Canucks in the first round, and I think they've done a good job of adjusting in the offseason. They've also added Brady Shea on the blue line. He's 30 years of age, 80 games, 13 goals, 34 assists, 47 points. I think he had the best season of his career. Roman Josi, 34 years of age, 82 games, 23 goals, 62 assists, 85 points. I still say for the second half of this past season, he was the best defenseman in the NHL. Now, over the full season, Quinn Hughes ends up winning the Norris. I'm not going to say he shouldn't have, but in that second half, Josi was fantastic. Lauzon, 27 years of age, 79 games, 6 goals, 8 assists, 14 points. And Will Carrier, also 27 years of age. Alexander Carrier, Will Carrier's in Buffalo. 73 games for Carrier, 4 goals, 16 assists, 20 points. So the top four, you've added Shea, you've added some offense there, with Barry going to free agency and still being unsigned at this point. So I guess there's a chance he could end up back in Nashville. I don't think so, though. Not with the cap space they have. But I do think Shea's offense will probably stay in the 40 point range. I don't know if he gets 13 goals again. But either way, adding Stamkos, Marchessault, and Shea without giving up any assets to pick him up, that's something. So one question mark with the Nashville Predators, it's still out there. And one reason why this isn't a full-out season preview, and I'm not grabbing into them, Askarov, is he getting traded? Where's he going to go? Will he start the season in Milwaukee, or is he going to start the season in the National Hockey League with a different team? There are definitely some teams that could use another goaltender. That being said, the return for goaltenders is always less than people expect. So we'll see. We'll see if Askarov gets traded and what Nashville gets back for him. One question I do have, and this sounds like an obvious one, but it's not. Stamkos and Marchessault, coming from teams where they were very ingrained in that top six and they knew their forwards really well, how long is it going to take for them to get used to a new team and used to playing with new line mates, right? So I think they'll get a chance to play together as a matter of who plays between them, unless Stamkos plays center, which he has in the past. But I do think there are some question marks there about how long it's going to take for them to really gel. They're in their mid 30s. Will they be able to score the same as they did before? We shall see. Now, when we look back, and I wanted to do a bit of a look back through the last almost a decade here, 2017, 2018, they had a 713 points percentage. They won the President's Trophy. They got knocked out in the second round, though, by the team that finished second to them in the standings, the Winnipeg Jets. That was a 7-game series. It was fantastic. That series was absolutely excellent. That being said, they started to drop after that. 2018, 2019, a 610 points percentage. They lost in the first round against Dallas in 6, and they haven't won a round since 2018. 2019, 2020, they finished with a 565 points percentage. They lost the qualifying round against Arizona, 3-1. So that was a low point for the Nashville Predators. The following season, 2020, 2021, they had a 571 points percentage, so a bit of a jump there. They lose in the first round against Carolina in 6. 2021, 2022, a 591 points percentage. And in round 1, they lost against Colorado in 4 straight. 2022, 2023, a 561 points percentage and no playoffs. So no playoffs for them for the first time in a while. They get back in the playoffs this past season unexpectedly, where their points percentage went up to 604. So the best points percentage they'd had in 5 years. But then they lose in the first round against the Vancouver Canucks in 6. A hard-fought series that if you replayed it with those same players, best of 7, maybe Nashville wins it the second time if you replay it, but there's no do-overs. So the question becomes one of, all right, so you've added Stamkos, you've added Marchessault, so are you getting closer to the Cup? Will this team get out of the first round for the first time in a while? I think the expectations are probably that they will. But when you look at that division, you've got Dallas and Colorado, likely still the top 2 teams in the division. If Nashville is going into a first round series against Colorado, who beat them 4 straight in 2022, or Dallas, who beat them in 6 in 2019, do they have what they need right now to beat a Colorado Avalanche or Dallas Stars? And I think that's a legitimate question. The one player I didn't put on the board was Juuse Saros. I feel like Saros gets discussed a lot. We know what he can do. I will talk about him in a little bit here, though. So their goal scoring this past season was 10th. I think that comes up with Marchessault and Stamkos added. But we'll see. Sometimes it doesn't work that way. They were 13th in goals against, which is a bit of a surprise unless you factor in that first half of the season, defensively and goaltending-wise, things weren't as fantastic as they were in the second half of the season. So Nashville needs to find a way to channel that second half team, and adding Stamkos and Marchessault should help with that. The exits from this roster, McDonough. Tampa Bay taking on McDonough and taking that cap hit away from Nashville kind of allows them to add Stamkos. So kind of ends up backfiring on Tampa a little bit. And I say a little bit because I think they knew that they were going to lose Stamkos, but I don't think they knew that adding McDonough would give the cap space to Nashville to sign him, because Nashville doesn't have any cap space right now. Or maybe they signed Stamkos, but they wouldn't have had enough money left to sign Marchessault as well, right? So Sherwood leaves as well. He goes to Vancouver. Barry's still out there as a free agent. Trennan's in Minnesota. Zucker's moved along. Beauvillier's moved along as well. Foodie, Lankinen. Lankinen surprises me a bit because I thought he had a really good year as the backup. He's still out there as a free agent. No idea why. But yeah, the team I think is going to be better on paper. I think they are better on paper is a better way to put it. But are they going to be better in practice? So Saros was 5th in the Vezina vote. Again, it's remarkable considering he had an iffy first half of the season. There was a lot of speculation about whether or not they might trade him. Now they've extended him, and nobody's expecting a trade there. Josi was 2nd in Norris voting behind Quinn Hughes. So Cale Makar was 3rd, and I can't find any fault with that because honestly, Josi was a beast this past season. Forsberg ends up being a second-team All-Star. So you've added Stamkos, you've added Marchessault, and you've already got a second-team All-Star on the team. It's a pretty strong forward group. I think Barry Trotz has done a very good job. And Andrew Burnett. who didn't last that long behind the bench in Florida. I didn't feel like Florida gave him much of a chance. And so here he is getting that chance in Nashville. One thing Burnett needs to show is that he can win come playoff time. And that's the one area that things have kind of tripped up with him, again in Florida and now in Nashville. He needs to show he can win come playoff time. 9 of their first 12 games are at home. They could get off to a very good start. This is something that's going to be mentioned a lot when I get to the season previews. I like to look at where their schedules start, but I wanted to cheat a bit here and get it on the board for Nashville because a good run at home to start the season could be exactly what the doctor ordered when you've got Stamkos, Marchessault, and Shea figuring out where they are in the lineup. Having them at home in front of those excited Nashville fans, I think is for the best. They're seen as a contender. Looking at the gambling odds and everything, they're top 10 in the Stanley Cup odds right now, but they're not a favorite. They're not top 5 on the sites I looked at. That could change quickly. If Nashville, with 9 of their first 12 at home, end up winning, say, 8 of their first 12 games overall, like let's say they're 8-3-1, people will talk about them as contenders pretty darn quickly, I think. But we'll see. I mean, they have the goaltender in Saros. They have the offensive depth. They have Stanley Cup rings between Marchessault and Stamkos that they've added. And they've added some offense to the blue line with Shea. There's no reason to think this team should be worse. And they only have $595,801 in cap space, according to Puckpedia. So what you see right now is probably what you're going to get in October. But let me know your thoughts. Nashville fans, are there any other moves you'd like to see Nashville make between now and the start of the season? Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And I guess it's the final question. What do you think they should be asking for Askarov? And which team do you think ends up picking up the young goaltender? Thank you guys so much for all your support as always. I will talk to you again soon.